and under the laws of our society, I'll be punished. But when somebody, look at Beirut, look at the Marines that died there. And I hold Reagan with greatest respect, with greatest regards. He came out and stated, I accept full responsibility, yet who paid the price? The Marine commander there who was just following orders, who knew that they needed to do other things. He even requested tanks, armored vehicles to better provide for the defense of those
troops. So somebody could just drive right into the gate.
But they didn't do this. No, we're not going to go ahead and escalate this. We're not turning this into another Vietnam. So he was the one that got raked over the coals, even though he was the one that already stated that we need this type of equipment to better protect the Marines we have here on land. But the President comes out and says, I accept full responsibility, yet that Marine Commandant paid the price. What does a politician mean when he states, I accept full responsibility? Someday, as we speak right now, there are a select group of politicians within Congress, within the White House, that know the truth about UFOs, knowing we're not alone, knowing that there are visitors here. And someday, they're going to have no recourse but to state, okay, we've been covering this up for so long, we're apologizing for it, and some bureaucrat's going to get up and say, I accept full responsibility for any chaos and hardship and suffering, because there is suffering. You see a UFO.
Well, countless lives that have been
affected,
changed and forever altered because of the denial.
So the whole situation is just exactly what does it mean when a politician says, I accept full responsibility? I have no idea what that means.
It's nothing.
But the situation is, we've done this. So we are, as a society, a highly advanced in our way of thinking society, a highly technologically advanced society, yet we are still in our infancy. Where will we be technologically 100 years from now? And I can assure you, our visitors, I can tell you factually that there are those civilizations that are 2 billion years advanced technologically. Technology, we refer to technology evolving, but we seem to get the technology in spurts as we become more mature. Now, all this rhetoric I'm trying to go over is trying to build up to one thing. Spirituality comes into play. That has nothing to do with what God you worship, what church you go to. It's the sheer knowledge of the existence of a greater power beyond the known universe that brought about the universe.
Why is it then? Because with that knowledge, I think that I totally agree with you, and I think that knowledge would set you free and would set us free. Why is it that they stifle that knowledge? Why is it that they are hell-bent on keeping that knowledge from the individual? Is it so important? I guess it has to do with this inane power struggle thing of thinking that, I don't know, what am I trying to say? That they're in charge, that there's some group, so there's some, we know best for your, why not?
Absolutely. You got it right. You hit it right on.
But they don't. But then, in the same breath, they don't realize that if they don't change, that they're only going to be able to go so far with their technology and their status quo before the thing will just break down. Or does it even matter? I mean, it
does matter. But the situation is this: is that you keep control over your people by the means of various religious thought. For example,
fear-based.
Absolutely. I mean, even the early Christian philosophy the Judeo philosophy, the Hindus, the Muslim.
If he comes in
you
here,
transgress
don't worry about it.
against
He won't bite.
the only
He
God
loves people,
that they make
that's the
reference to
problem.
within these religions, you're surely going to go to hell. There will be no reward in the afterlife. You will suffer in the afterlife as a result of transgressing against this particular religion. And here in the United States, there's well over 200 different Christian religious sects, all aspiring to, they are the true religion. They are the only true religion. If you don't believe the way they do, there's nothing in heaven for you.
You will go to hell.
You will go to hell. This is not the case. But now what does this do? This puts up a power base in order to go ahead and spread the word of their religion. Very much like what we do within the organized movement within the UFO circles, where we, in our own little clique, or on an individual basis, we're doing research in the UFOs for the truth.
This is the truth according to
This is the truth according to Garp.
Yeah, according to Garp.
But if you disagree with me,
then you don't know.
You're wrong.
You don't know.
Instead of saying, look, let's walk along this road together, but let's agree to disagree, but let's hold on fast to those things that we can prove.
I've seen that over and over again. There's tons of very valuable information out there that has been done by researchers, prominent researchers within the field today. And after looking and examining their full body of their information, I came to the conclusion very early on that 99.9% of these people have their own personal agenda because they're not sharing all the information.
Absolutely, that's not the way it should be.
No, of course not.
This isn't. We get criticized because it's called a pseudoscience. Ufology is a pseudoscience. We in the field turn it into idiocracy. And the reason I state that is simply put what you just pointed out. It doesn't matter if I'm the one that breaks to the world the ultimate truth. It's only a name. What is more important? Knowing the truth and getting it out there, meaning somebody else might get credit for a truth that you found. But the important thing is to get the truth out. It's not the need of one individual to have his name up in lights or to have his name immortalized.
I just find it so hard to believe that people have this need, this innate desire to be the person to have the final solution. Why is it so almighty important to be the person that has the final solution? Why can't it just be that the final solution is the culmination of many efforts, and not any one person has?
Simply put, we, through ego and greed, aspire to be leaders. We see the greatest among us in the world are the leaders. This is what, through ego and greed, we want to become. But I say this, the greatest among men are not necessarily the leaders, but those who are servants of humanity.
Yeah.
They are the ones that accomplish what the leaders get the credit for. The leaders didn't do the dying in the Second World War, not meaning to take anything away from them. I mean, that is not my intention. There were many great leaders. But the servants were the guys that were out there doing the fighting and the dying. We tend not to remember their name. Naming one person that died there at Pearl Harbor. Very hard to do unless you have relatives down there. Case line. Naming one person who died or suffered, got wounded there, or who went through it. And yes, there were leaders, there were officers, but they were not the leaders that are in the hierarchy. Every child has a dream of becoming the President of the United States, Chief of Police, Fire Chief, to be in total charge. You had captains and you have colonels, you have majors and you have lieutenants. you have sergeants. But this isn't the leadership I'm
It's like
referring to.
the ideal that they want.
I'm referring to the hierarchy. And the one thing that we overlook,
Get it.
these people that I just named, although they're leaders, they were still servants.
Get it?
They provided their lives, their bodies, everything they had in defense of this country of ours. And although in all wars there are terrible, very inhumane things that happen, they provided this service to humanity in the name of humanity.
What year was this?
It was through politics
95.
that things kind of get clouded and the inhumane things take place in war. The politicians had to fight the war. The leaders had to fight the wars. There wouldn't be very many wars.
That's for sure.
Hey,
But
get it?
the
Well, that brings in another issue.
No, this isn't there.
This illusion of a patriarchal society, which men, quote, are in charge, where the natural reality of the life and the existence we have says that that's totally backwards. And we can look at that and argue very successfully that if women were in charge, which they are in many places, the things would have been done very, very differently throughout history.
absolutely.
Even with the same ideologies, there would have been a large difference in the way things have come around.
Men within our society, in most cultures on planet Earth, are not permitted to be emotional. And that means I've learned a lot about that. And I say it's okay because it's purely human. I still feel uneasy about it when I talk about certain things. For lack of a better term, you have flashbacks. You see me talking, but in my mind's eye, I'm reliving.
Sure.
We're going to try to steer clear of that right now. But, the whole situation is from childhood. What I wanted to be was a person who helped people, who made life a little better, who made things just a little easier. People say miracles don't happen. I've never seen a miracle. To that, I can only state this. There's a whole series of coincidences when a man is hungry and somebody out of clear blue comes by, feels sorry for that man, and provides him food. That, within itself, is a miracle. A small miracle, but we take it for granted. But a whole series of coincidences have to happen. We refer to the evolution of the universe, yet the very forces required for the explosion to take place didn't exist till several hundredths of a second after the Big Bang occurred. What caused the Big Bang? 1/100th of a second before the Big Bang occurred, what was the universe like? We can't answer that. We have to go back to quantum mechanics to try to explain it. But the only way we can explain it, the only way that I can explain it, is by divine intervention that knew that from the time that chaos started,
the explosion occurred,
little things, little coincidences, leading into the hundreds of thousands had to take place. It was as though when the universe was created, when the Big Bang took place, these little things came into being as though there was some type of intelligence with the knowledge that eventually creatures such as ourselves would come out somewhere in the universe. And I cannot believe that a beneficent God, if I'm using the correct word, that created the whole universe, just for this one little small grain of sand on a galactic seashore, for man to thrive here and look into a marvelous universe that has no other life in it. I know from life experience that we are not alone.
I heard it said a long time ago, and I think it's still true, and I think it's very, very apropos, is that if God only created one race of cognizant beings, and we are them, what a hell of a waste of space.
Absolutely.
And if you look at it scientifically, of course, there's every indication that life is absolutely prolific all through the known universe. And that the things, and we know that once life takes hold or grabs in and pulls itself together, no matter how, that the will to survive and to grow and to achieve is there, and that is part of the wonder of it.
And the one thing that we are all born with, well, it's in our DNA too. The answer isn't there, but we are born to seek out the God complex.
Oh yeah, I'm thoroughly convinced of that. And it's funny now that they've been able to evaluate the human genome and they're able to understand more about it. What they've found, which I think is fascinating, is that the differences between us are so much
here
less.
It is on the day before yesterday's newspaper, right here. I guess this will take it.
Oh yeah, sure. You just have to hold it
story.
still.
Hold it still.
Yeah, that's still no. The whole thing is they found out that the difference between every living, breathing human being on this earth is less than 1/10 of a percent that brings that individuality to form. That 99.9% of everything that we are is totally identical to no matter who you are. And that's why
what was in the paper?
If you look at it scientifically and in the big picture, the more people try to make themselves independent and different, the more they're breaking away from the reality of what and who they really are.
Oh, absolutely.
And they have to realize that the connection between all living things, as well as living beings, is so much more of who they are than any little portion that separates them from the whole. And I don't know, that's kind of a revelation that I think Einstein probably came into some similar types of thoughts in his dealings with the universe, because he had his own cosmic reality, his own epiphany.
And I'll tell you one thing that we consistently overlook. That's this. That the scientific community has a problem with, my cat did too. It was okay to see UFOs in the early years, but if you reported seeing entities get out of these craft, that was too much to take. But the one thing that sticks out, that most scientists will tell you, well, the problem we have, the major problem we have with people seeing entities from getting out of these alleged spacecraft, they look like us in that they are humanoid. They have two legs, bipedal. They have 2 arms. They may have 3 to 6 fingers with an opposable thumb, which is very important. And, it's about like everybody speaking the same language throughout the universe. That won't happen. Give you DNA. DNA supposedly started here on Earth for us Earthlings, and with us, we evolved from an amoeba that doesn't look anything like us, according to the way things came about. We still have not just one missing link, but several missing links that gets us to that point where
we're identifiable as who we are.
That's correct. So here you have that situation. Now you have a situation where we have various languages due to geographical separation. Different cultures develop their own language. So you have several hundred different languages here on planet Earth. Even with those languages, you have several different dialects within each language. If you have other life visiting us here, how would the DNA of that life structure, assuming we only have one yardstick to go by, and that is the hydrocarbon compounds, but they may not be hydrocarbon compounds. But how did they take on the same genetic coding to become bipedal, to have the opposing thumb? Why do they look so much like us? Once again, I give you, it's not a life in the universe as it is here on Earth. It's not an accident. It wasn't an accident brought about by somebody boiling the soup too long, but it was by divine intervention. I truly believe this. If we could get...
I believe in what they say about life being a reflection of God.
Yes.
And that I think that is it the Hindus or the where God, as they say him, or Brahma, is sleeping, and basically we are living the dream of his creation. And when he awakes, all of reality and all creation, such as we know it, will cease to exist until such a time as he lays down to sleep and dream the dream of life again. And I think that's kind of interesting, because I think that if you were the omnipotent being of all creation and all things, living, past, present, and future, that you would want to bring about a reflection of yourself and to watch the unfurling of the great mysteries of life. And so, anyway.
Oh yeah, well, you can get in, when it comes to UFOs, you can get in some very profound discussions. And what I want to say is really difficult for me to say, and it's difficult for me to say because I don't want people to look upon me as, this guy is creating a new religion. This guy is going to become a new Messiah.
Oh, gosh.
I am a very mortal man. I'm a little man. I have fears. I have likes. I have dislikes.
Clifford, you're a little man, but you've got a huge heart.
And
so you're not a little person.
Thank you. But, you know, like, I pray on bended knees.
Maybe that agrees too.
Huh?
Agrees too.
This isn't about starting another religion. We have enough religions there. What I'm hoping to do is make people understand that there's more to this life than what we understand. And that there is really a necessity for us to strive to become more spiritual in our interactions with our own kind before there can be an open dialogue with other entities visiting us. We need to do this because we have to get to the point where we are concerned about what happens to the other guy. One of the things that it used to really bug me is when you'd have people, well, take the astronauts, the ones who died. I mean, I knew that was going to happen. I was on edge the whole day. I even told people if they launch, those people aren't coming back. One person says, "What do you mean they're going to be floating around there forever?" I says, "They'll never escape the Earth's gravitational pull." And that happened right up here at Neiman. When I went back, one of the women said, "You know what you said?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "The shuttle blew up." And, you know, I saw it before it happened. And you have no control. I mean, just, they say you control. If you go to school, you'll be able to control these things. They'll be able to teach you. But, and I don't know what brings them on. I have no idea what brings it on. But it's more than just, it's not like sitting back and watching the TV screen. You feel the pain, the anguish, you know what the family's about to start to go through. You can feel their pain and anguish, and I mean, I don't know how to put that into words. I don't know how to state that you don't look at the pain and suffering of other people once you get exposed to this. It's not, you don't see it as just another news story. You don't see it as something to reflect on and be glad it's not you. I mean, you really, truly feel what some of these people are feeling. And I don't know how you put that into words. I don't know how to do that. And I don't know how to control some of the things you see. I guess I'm not making sense on that.
No, actually, you're doing very, very well, because that's one of the deep secrets. It's one of the deepest thing. It's the inner knowing. It's the intuitive nature, the spirit of man. Who actually, it's the ultimate compliment that you can give yourself, is the fact of that knowing, because that knowing is the separation between you and you and a dog, or no, even a dog can have it. Say you and a bird or something that doesn't have that awareness. The awareness is and then there's different degrees of that awareness. And what you're talking about, I believe, is the ultimate awareness. Because once those,
Don't do that.
I consider them like veils or curtains, fall from everyone. It's like the 100th monkey. If this was to occur in many, many people, pretty soon it would occur to everyone. And once that veil falls between everyone, the interconnection that we would have would change our existence and our reality forever.
That was quick. No.
Is that done? Oh,
That was part one, right?
okay.
That's part one.
Great.
And then I'll give me a second to start two, if you don't mind.